You are listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope, the podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with a very special guest, Dan Riordan. Dan is an accomplished senior executive with over 30 years of success building and growing several technology and HR-related companies across emerging segments. He is also the author and speaker, having written a book titled Signals: How Questioning Assumptions Produces Smarter Decisions. Oh yeah, the true words there. Dan founded SwitchedOn Media Group to be a strategic partner in creating, designing, and implementing solutions to tough challenges and big opportunities with select brands. I have known Dan for going on close to a year now, I think, and he is amazing. So I'm really glad that you said yes to the show, Dan.
Oh, I was excited. I love our interactions, and you're such a bright light and help people be better. I just couldn't wait.
You're someone I refer to as a gentle giant. Like every time I talk to you, something more fantastic pops out that I didn't know anything about, because you're so humble in everything you do. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I didn't know you did that. Oh, like today I found out you had a book. I didn't know you had a book. Am I not featuring your book in the magazine? Because it looks awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah. I try to kind of stay focused on, helping others and really trying to do good.
We were just talking about a quote that he has in here. We were talking about always finding things or leaving things better than we find them. And we were talking about, I think it came from Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, like way back. I don't even know, do they have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts anymore?
Yeah, I've lost track myself. Yeah.
Well, one of the things we ask all of our guests, Dan, to do at the very beginning of every show is to share their story of hope. I believe our stories of hope literally are heartbeats we put out into the world and gives hope to others, like going through their journeys. So do you want to share your story of hope with us today?
Yeah, I'll definitely share it. It's a fun and interesting one, and one I look back even now, Jana, and it's like I've lived a completely separate life that almost wasn't even mine when I look back. And so it's really fascinating because, my first 50 years of life, I kind of sailed through life head down, really not paying attention to anything other than what I thought I should be doing. And, that involved kind of this treadmill of, hey, Dan, you're good at math. So good at math meant go get an electronic engineering degree from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So, I applied, I got in, I went and did that. And, lo and behold, I graduated. And, 3 or 4 years later, I'm like, man, I don't even like this. And I just devoted a huge chunk of my life to go make this happen. Fast forward around 50, I was pursuing being the California state champion for racquetball for my age group. And I went to the doctor. I was, 14-0 at the time, chasing this dream, really kind of hitting the big stride in racquetball. And I go to the doctor, and Dr. Jeff says, hey man, your blood pressure's up. And I said, Jeff, it's impossible. I'm working out like a wild man. And he said, no, you're up. And he goes, next time you're in, we're going to put you on medication. And I said, Jeff, it can't be true. And he goes, no, you're just getting old, Dan. He goes, this is what happens. You're getting old. Next time you're in, we're putting you on meds. And I literally walked out of the office that day, kind of shocked and like, what the heck is happening? And so I got in the car, got on the phone to my wife, and I said, I don't know what's happening, but we're doing something wrong. And we need to figure this out because I shouldn't be getting this diagnosis. Something happened, Jana, at that moment. I had never thought of it that way. My quote is, life is happening for us, not to us. And up until that moment, I actually thought the opposite, that life was kind of happening to me and that, these are the outcomes and I just have to deal with it. And in that moment, I actually went home and I lined my entire living room with whiteboard paper, every wall, thank God for a very understanding partner. And I started researching every input to the body, from the light, the water, to every piece of food, every chemical, everything. And 6 weeks into this, the mad engineering brain of mine was using something I learned in school called thermodynamics, the study of energy. And I was using the second law of thermo, which is entropy or disorder. And I was looking at everything and how much disorder it was causing in my body. And it was a very interesting twist on looking at the inputs. It was all energy related. And I need so much energy to run the ATP and the energy of my cells. What's the least amount of disorder I can bring in and convert to get that energy? Well, 6 weeks into that, I realized that there was 3 big things I needed to cut out immediately to solve my blood pressure thing. So I cut out gluten, glyphosate, and sugar. I cold turkeyed all 3. And 8 weeks later, I had lost 35 pounds and 40 points aside on my blood pressure. And I was shocked. We were both shocked. It was like, what just happened? Now, I'm a little bit abnormal in the sense that once my brain switches, I don't cheat. I don't go back. I'm like all in. And so I didn't have any switching trouble. I just shut it off and went. But something else happened in there, Jana, where in that transition, my spirituality blossomed in a way that I never, ever could have imagined. This connection to cleaner energy and the connection to kind of cleaning up my physiology and my biology, it switched my connection to the greater spiritual energy. And it's been an unintended, crazy 7+ year journey now. And it's really amazing. Since then I've become fully plant-based. I continue to pursue this. I've been shocked at the circularity of the universe. I have done a lot of searching back in time and history, and none of what's happening is new today. I'm reading books from the 1920s that talk about plant-based living's the way to go. I'm reading books. I just read a book from a really famous guy back in the early 1900s who healed 225,000 people with natural remedies from LA. And, in there, he was talking about the exact same things that are happening today happened back then. And he was talking about vaccines for smallpox and all sorts of things that were happening. And you're like, wow, nothing is actually new if I look back in time. So the circularity of it all has really been cool to awaken to. And so my journey of hope is really that I believe that these signals, as I wrote in my book, these are signals that are coming into all of us. At any moment, you're getting a signal. Whether you think that signal is for you or happening to you is really the subtle distinction that we all need to shift and realize that signal is actually for us. And it's just like that, check engine light comes on in your car. You don't sit there and go, I'm going to go unplug that light and keep running this car. You actually say, whoa, something's wrong with the car. And ultimately with my blood pressure, that's what I did was I said, wait, this is a signal. And that's where the book and a lot of all of this has really come from, is that realization.
I think it's really funny because you're right, nothing's new. And when I started looking for holistic options, I thought it was all new stuff and it's ancient. It's like craziness. Why did we get so far away from it? And I think it's really unusual that people will say They think that if you're a vegan or a vegetarian or plant-based, that you're going to look pasty white. You don't look healthy, right? You need that protein, like meat, to make you strong. And I think it's all the commercials that have fed that to us. Because look at us, like I'm plant-based, you're plant-based. We look like we're thriving.
Yeah.
And so I like vegan plant-based. So it's crazy that we still feel that way because of what has been driven into us through commercials and ads. And where's beef for dinner? What's that commercial? Like, it's so crazy. Like, that makes you strong. And I remember thinking every time I had a surgery, they would say, eat lots of protein, eat lots of protein. It helps you heal, right? And it does. Protein does help you heal. But I thought that meant load myself up with meat product.
Yeah.
Which made me sick. So I found that, like, I didn't know there was protein in vegetables, there's protein in plant-based foods, tons of it. So I think that just doing a little education on what we're actually eating is super helpful.
Yeah, it really is. And I had to go through that. You rewind to look at the old version of me, and I was the biggest carnivore you've ever met. Like, I prided myself in my marinade for my tri-tip. The ritual of the barbecue was immense for me. And this study of energy and entropy and disorder for me led me on this journey where I realized, okay, wait a minute. A cow sits there and eats grass all day long. It's going after the amino acids that are in that grass, and then it converts the amino acids to its muscle and its mass, but it's eating the grass. And once I got my head wrapped around that it was the amino acid chains that we needed to actually build our bodies, then I was able to connect some dots really easily, going, wait a minute, what's the most efficient way to get those amino acids into my body? Is it eating a plant and breaking that down, or is it eating a chunk of meat and breaking that down? And the answer for me when I studied it was the former, which was breaking down plants is way easier, way less entropy, which means way less disorder, which means more longevity. And that's what got me there.
I think that it's funny. I was raised on a dairy, and it was meat and, dairies, cheeses. And now I started switching to plant-based because I was feeling so miserable every time I ate. And I didn't understand. I thought it felt like food was poisoning me.
Yeah.
So I started keeping that diary, like 20 minutes after you eat. How do I feel? Am I energized? Do I feel like it fueled me? And when the food was a no, I felt like I needed a nap. I felt bloated. I felt disconnected. Like, it just did not feel good. I knew that food, my body wasn't adjusting to that very well. It wasn't fueling me.
Yeah.
So a lot of us eat and we're just filling that hole, that hunger hole. And we're not really paying attention. How is this fueling my body? How is this contributing to my health and wellness?
Yeah. It's something that it's such a mind shift. Like, I'm doing a thing right now in January, and it's just personal, but I'm really saying, we went into this saying, all right, how good, can we actually feel? Like, I feel great, but how good can I feel? And so we've been, for the last week and a half, we've been on this mission here in the month of January to say, just how good can we feel? And we're experimenting with a couple of things. And like, we're doing something right now that I've actually never felt better in my entire life than right this minute, which what we started doing about a week and a half ago is we're eating between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. and that's it. And then we're done eating at 1 o'clock and we don't eat again. And I got to tell you, it's shocking. I don't get hungry. I sleep like a baby now. I don't wake up to go to the bathroom. I sleep 7.5 hours. Perfect. And we are both shocked. And I'm eating a third less of what I used to eat. I've cut out, dinner completely, and I don't miss any of it. And it's mind blowing when you start playing with this equation of really, what does your machine actually need to operate at peak performance?
I agree. I want to definitely talk about, you produce one of the most amazing summits, the Quit Sugar Summit. And I want to talk a little bit about that. And like, I don't think people understand, we talked a little before we started recording about how if people really could correlate their health issues, they're literally going to pull it right back to sugar. It's always going to lead back to sugar. I mean, other things too. I'm not saying that's the only culprit, but I'm saying I don't think we understand when we eat those delicious things. And I'm telling you, that was the hardest thing for me to do, is give up sugar. And even now, I will have sugar now and then. And I feel like a crack addict. I have to start all over again with giving it up if I have it just once. So it's one of those things, like if you were an alcoholic, you can't just have one drink. For me, I can't have just a little bit of sugar because I know I'm going back into that battle of getting rid of it.
Yeah, sugar, as you said, is definitely, it's that gateway to all health. It really is that first stop of, it is such a big driver of inflammation. It is such a big driver of so many of the base root start of other disorder and disease, that if you can start there and tame that beast. It's funny, and I'm curious to ask you if you've had any similar experience, but we now have been so clean of sugar for so long. If we eat something that's naturally, that's sugar, it tastes so sweet to us that it's overpowering. Like I can't even do it anymore because my taste and my palate is shifted so completely now away from it, that I can't, like if I have ketchup, that's not, normal sweetened ketchup, it's just too sweet. It doesn't taste right. So it's really amazing how much your body will shift. And the other thing we saw happen was all of a sudden things started tasting different and better. Like my broccoli started popping in my mouth, where before it was kind of bland. Now I'm like eating broccoli, and there was a couple months in that I remember looking at dinner going, did you do something different to the broccoli? This tastes great tonight. And, it was experiencing food in kind of a whole new dynamic. But yeah, the Quit Sugar Summit's exciting. We get 30 to 60 speakers, top scientists, people, pushing the envelope. And we have them come in and share an hour, each speaker. It's a big summit. We get tens of thousands of people attending it. And I feel like it really brings forth issues. This one on January 24th is a brain focused bent to the summit. So a lot of speakers are coming. Dr. Perlmutter's headlining the event, and we're excited about it. It's really just a vehicle out there trying to help people.
I love that. This unfortunately will come out after January 24th, but hopefully they'll catch the next one. But I would definitely want all of you guys to start following Dan, because he puts on some pretty amazing things. What is the other thing you've said that you had going?
Well, so I'm involved in the Quit Sugar Summit, and then also another piece of that, which is sugaraddiction.com, where we actually do some challenges and help people break free from sugar. And so that whole sugar platform is exciting. And then I'm also partnered with a company called Framework.so. And Framework's actually a platform for health and wellness coaches to build their platform to help people off of. And it's a brand new startup. So it's exciting. And they're partnered up with several larger health coaches right now, but the platform's kind of coming out. So I've been working with them, and that one's aligned. Health and wellness coaches is its main focus as well.
I love that, because that's a lot of the people who listen to this show are health and wellness coaches, and they need platforms that are trustworthy and authentic, exactly like that. So I love that you're putting that together. So you guys are going to want to definitely follow him for when that's ready to launch.
Yeah, it's got some cool features built into it. It's actually got one tool, which is an efficacy tool, so you can actually monitor people's progress on your program and actually see that your program's helping them. And it also helps the coach, because you build up a data set that says people that go through my program get this kind of effect, and it helps the people going through your program to see that they're actually getting the help or support they need. So yeah, there's some neat features of it.
I love that because I'm in the health and wellness industry. I get a lot of things like that brought to my attention. And here's the thing, I feel like on social media or on the internet that it has become the wild, wild west in health and wellness, and not all are doing well. Some of them are doing harm. And so
Yeah.
when I meet people like you that have that ethical background, who really are looking how to give the client and the coaches the best experience, an honest experience, I love that you're doing that. And I don't know if you guys listened to the very beginning of Dan's intro, but he has literally built multi-million-dollar companies. And so when he puts his finger on something, it usually turns out pretty awesome.
Yeah, thanks. We've had some pretty fun successes in Silicon Valley in the whole traditional tech world, and it's been a great journey for me on many levels. And then the health and wellness awakening journey has been amazing. And this progression that Jana, that I hope we all can appreciate is, I had to learn that a sick body makes a sick mind. My mind was not functioning nearly at its capacity. And as I got a healthy body, I got a healthy mind, and then I got a healthy spirituality. And with Quit Sugar, it's about that. But I think for all of us to realize that it's time to honor your earthly body. It's time to honor our earth, and it's really time to take some responsibility and honor this gift that we've all been given. If I could pass on one thing, I would definitely push all of us to think that way.
We were just talking to right before the show about the misconception when you read a label. Like when I first went plant-based, I was telling Dan, I went out and bought all the plant-based stuff, right? Whatever's easy and quick, and they packaged meats that were not meats. And I started getting sick. I'm like, what is happening? And I didn't realize, like you were just saying, that they have a special new verbiage for MSG so that they can hide it in things and still be passing it through FDA and saying, yeah, we're declaring that on there. And I don't know, if you can't read it on the label, like, don't get it, because I don't know what it is. Why would I want to put that in my body if I'm being aware of what's going into it?
Yeah, I'm reading a book right now called Excitotoxins. Doesn't sound like the most engaging book ever, but it's a fascinating book on excitotoxins, and things like MSG and aspartame and other things like that are excitotoxin. But what I had mentioned in the pre-show was that I had no idea on some of the names that MSG gets hidden on labels. And a name that really blew me away was yeast extract. I would have never connected that, labeling to MSG. And so, yeah, it is this nonstop awakening to lots of, hidden things out there. And MSG is really dangerous. And there's a lot of data and studies around what it does to your neurons and what it's doing to a lot of your brain architecture, and you want to stay the heck away from it. And so, yeah, I learned a few new things in this book so far. I'm about halfway through it, but it's an exciting, interesting read.
That's what I like when I go buy broccoli, because I do whole plant-based. I know what's in it, broccoli.
That's right.
It doesn't even need a label. That's all there is, especially if you're
Yeah.
buying organic. So I love that they're tricking us. And here's the thing. It's not happening to us, right? It's happening for us.
That's
It's
right.
giving us an opportunity to educate ourselves, to, get comfortable with our new food intake. And we were just talking earlier about feeling it, like you can't eat to just fill the hole in your gut. It has to be fueling your body. And if it's not fueling it, it's killing it.
Yeah. And, there's so many signals that we don't interpret right. Like, you eat something and then you burp afterwards, right? Well, there's a certain phase of your life where you're proud of your burping, or, everyone's laughing at it, blah, blah, blah. But your body is actually off-gassing for a reason. It's trying to signal to you to say, whoa, 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 time out. This is not processing the right way. And once you start to connect these dots, like, hey, do you get sleepy at 2 p.m. after you eat a big old carb-laden lunch? That's a signal. Your body's saying, that's not what I needed. Your brain's not getting what it needs. You need to actually realize that those signals are real and your body's trying to send you a message, but most of us, we don't interpret it that way. And it's amazing when you drive to that awareness, because all of a sudden you start realizing, wow, the signals are there and they've been there. I was just blown by them. And it's kind of fun once you go down that rabbit hole because they're endless.
I love it. Dan, tell people how they can connect with you.
Yeah, for me, you can connect with me at SwitchedOn Media. I'm just SwitchedOnMediaGroup.com, or you can quickly connect with me at SugarAddiction.com, and I'm just Dan at SugarAddiction.com. Either one of those works.
Perfect. We're going to put all that in the show notes so you guys can connect with him really easily. I highly recommend you do, because he's worth following and getting to know. Thank you so much, Dan, for being on the show.
Thank you. Great meeting you.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show. That'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.